Today we're going over how to die to less ganks and how to survive overall better in the early game. Let's get into it. Let's go over a few things before we're going to figure out how to die less. First, we're going to talk about our matchup, then the jungle matchup, and then the comp's strengths and weaknesses overall, specifically talking about the early game. Pantheon vs Malphite, I can win the early trades, get early prio. I'm susceptible to ganks though at level 6 with Malphite ult. Kha'Zix vs Lee Sin. Kha'Zix can beat Lee Sin in the early game if Lee Sin's isolated and Kha'Zix has a slight HP advantage. Lee Sin though is a better dueler and 2v2er, especially with how much CC our comp has. Comp overall, we have Galio, who's a good roamer post 6. We have Vayne Thresh, probably going to lose the early game. Kha'Zix has decent setup mid lane with Cho'Gath, and a winning bot lane with double range versus Vayne Thresh. Now that we're into the game with a bit more understanding, let's go over some of the key things I try to focus on to make sure that I don't die in the early game to any ganks or any stupid 1v1s, and to make sure that I have a stable game as a champ like Pantheon. First clip's going to be 2 minutes in. I'm crashing the second wave. Malphite can hold it in front of his tower. This is the perfect time though for me to go and get my ward out. My Lee Sin is pathing down, we don't have perfect information on Kha'Zix, and I want to make sure that I can crash this third wave without dying to a gank and without needing bailout for my jungler. The next clip's going to come when the cannon wave is about halfway dead. My Lee Sin has pathed in the bot, we end up spotting Kha'Zix, and now I know I can posture aggressively on this wave and look to crash the 5th wave. This will give me good tempo coming out of base, not needing to burn my TP. I can then play with my jungler on my side, potentially look for a gank if I can freeze the wave, or if my jungler is going to continue to path down, look to bounce the wave, push it back under Malphite's tower, and just keep the bounce going while my Lee Sin plays his own game. Now we're coming back to lane, we're both level 5, and I know I'm leveling up in 1 creep, so on my level up timer, I'm going to use that bit of advantage to make sure I hard trade Malphite as hard as I can, get him as low as possible, and with the fruit spawning at 6 minutes in the river, I'm going to grab that fruit and use that extra bit of HP and mana to make sure that I can keep sustaining in the lane. My jungler also gets another kill mid, and we're going to see right here, Kha'Zix gets spotted bot lane, so I know I'm going to keep trading hard top. My Lee Sin's now on my side doing grubs. I'm going to grab the fruit, come back top lane, and then with the grub announcement going down, Malphite has to play safe. Dragon gets killed as well, so we know our jungler's on our side. This gives us tempo again to base, maybe look to alt top if Lee Sin wants to play, and if not, we just get to free walk back to top lane. We're back top lane, fresh off a base. Malphite, we're assuming, has also based, so now we're going to slow push a wave. Our jungler ends up dying. We're going to start stacking this wave now so that we can get a big crash and look to either get a roam off with our Pantheon ult, or just tempo base, recall again, and just keep bouncing the waves, putting ourselves in a good position. So we see that Malphite ends up ulting mid lane, so this gives us the opportunity to stack a cannon, crash another wave, and we could either look to bounce it and recall, or continue to stay on the map because Malphite has no ult and Lee Sin was potentially on our side looking for a gank. So I opted to stay. I looked to continue trading Malphite down really low because I knew he had no ult after what happened mid, and because of the trading, it actually gets me to deny him a wave under his tower. So I'm going to go back a little bit and show you guys one extra thing. It's right here. This is a position, right, where Malphite has no ult, and I could look to play kind of aggressive here, but I spot Kha'Zix, my Lee Sin isn't near me, and if I go in for this trade, there's a potential that I might just get chased down here and die. So even though I need to crash this wave, you can see me backing up, playing real conservative, and I'll let him clear the wave in my face, I really don't mind, and then I walk into the river here, trying to find Kha'Zix, and I'm pretty sure I end up spotting him right here. He jumps on me, and he walks away. But that's a position where you could get caught if you're not paying attention. If you're just kind of free hitting the wave, not paying attention to your surroundings, this is an easy death that you could get caught in. But I opt to let him clear, and then I end up not dying. Allows me to push Malphite out. Very good situation for us that we're in right now. Now guys, not everyone's perfect, so I'm going to show you one mistake that I did make in this game that could have avoided a death for me. So right here, me and Malphite have been hard trading, and I know that he's probably looking to ult me out of one of these bushes. So that's all I should be thinking about. I should be thinking about reacting with my E to the Malphite ult once I see it. But instead, I'm pinging, I'm clicking kind of poorly, the Malphite ult comes, and I'm not ready to E it in time. I end up getting chunked pretty hard. I almost outplay this. I live to like 1 HP. I get the E off, I flash away, I end up dying. But that's a situation again where the hard trading is good. My Lee Sin's coming to my side. I'm trying to put both of us low. But what I should be doing is thinking about what could kill me in this position, and I wasn't ready to react to the Malphite ult, and that was a mistake. So let's go over some of the key learnings and takeaways. Let's remember that when we're going into a game, we want to understand our matchup, understand the jungler matchup and how they like to play and path in the early game, and pinpoint the comp early game strengths and weaknesses. This will give us an overall idea of how the early game should go, whether or not we can play aggressive early game or we have to play a little bit more passively, even if we have a winning matchup. In the early game, if we can get early prio, we want to make sure that we get early vision out, especially when our jungler is pathing away and when we don't have perfect information on the enemy jungler. Next, when we're early game crashing, we want to make sure that we're usually stacking 2 waves, gives us more time to walk back to base. It also takes more time for the enemy to soak the wave under tower, usually meaning they'll have to TP if the wave is slow pushing away from them. Also, when we're trading later in the game, especially in our lanes, when we're both low, both like half HP, we want to make sure we're trading with intention. Is there fruit spawning? Is our jungler on our side? Is there a big cooldown that's down that we can take advantage of? Those are key things to be thinking about in those points of your lane. Another big takeaway is don't make a mistake like I did in the last clip and make sure you're aware of what can kill you. That's a big thing of how people die in a game is they're just not thinking about certain abilities, about certain champions in the game, about what are the strengths of the enemy comp at certain aspects of the game that can kill you. If I had been more prepared to E that Malphite ult out of the bush, his lane would have been completely crumbled. I would have E'd all the upfront damage. He would have had no ult for the 2v2 skirmish that was coming with my jungler on my side. It was just my mistake not preparing for it. So make sure we're thinking ahead and planning ahead for what the enemy wants to do and what we need to do to respond to it. That's the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you're going to die less in your games. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.